Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 101, a podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases on Sundays now. Sundays! On iTunes and day by day on YouTube. Catch updates about the podcast
Edge.
or for other news. Give us a follow on your social media platform of choice listed in the description below. I'm Obsidian. Do I need titles at this point?
My name is Meta.
That's Meta. Say hi, Meta.
Hi,
Meta.
I just said that. I just said my name was Meta.
And I repeated you.
Oh my god.
It's Podcasters Anonymous.
And there's Mao. He's in the corner. He's doing his own thing right now.
Yo, I demand to be introduced, is all.
Okay, there's Mao's here. Yeah.
Mao's here.
Everybody clap and bow for Mao.
We're really
feed my ego.
You know, I thought when we would
use it.
I thought when we started the podcast, it would be a little bit like we wouldn't drag our low energy into it, but man, oh man,
dude, it's winter. I just want to.
I don't know what that is.
I got my blanket wrapped around me.
86 today.
It's like a mythical time period.
Yeah.
For you,
although tomorrow's 56, so.
The mystical land of Florida.
Florida.
Where the sun always shines and the rainbows begin.
Nope.
A grand
utopia.
utopia.
The sun in a while. It's just been hot. I felt it.
Honestly, I don't really know if I would call Florida a mythical land, but I would say that they do home. They're home to probably one of the most well-known and well-documented mythical creatures, which is Florida Man.
I thought you were gonna say all the elderly retired people.
No, Florida Man, dude. Have you seen what it does?
Yeah, I have.
I don't know how they keeps getting out of jail to do more things.
They got gators down there. Don't
so,
you,
how you guys been?
Pass.
Next question, please.
A sleepy Joe.
Big mood, Meta. And I feel it.
It's been that mood for all of us, I think.
The problem really comes down to what we were talking about earlier, but for the sake of it, there's just not really much to say right now. There really isn't.
Not a lot of news.
I've been waiting.
We're just all in a doldrum.
We're all just waiting for the coronavirus to come and claim us.
Cleanse us, and
it's gonna spread from west to east.
Purities.
I'm gonna bring it back.
No, I'm gonna actually jump on that real fast. They did map out the spike gene or the spike protein. I was about to say gene. Wow, the spike protein for the coronavirus. So that's actually pretty big news. So
yeah, and SDC or God, I can't even remember my acronyms. The Gamer Conference, GDC. Yes, GDC. Sony and Oculus have both pulled out of it due to concerns over the coronavirus.
Yeah,
as well as the Facebook thingy.
Yeah, Sony's been pulling out.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sony's been pulling out like they're a professional right now. So.
I mean, it's weird to see people upset about a company trying to take care of its employees' health.
Well, Mal, these Last of Us fans, these Naughty Doggers, they're a rowdy bunch. They really want their game demo.
What can I say, man? I know what I want, and I want fucking Sony to give me what I want.
And they will pass this new Black Death, this contagion of disease, around the country. Once more, just so they can play their overrated third-person shooter.
Dude, you can't say that. You're gonna upset all of our fans.
I did it. I don't care if people thought it was the game of the decade.
You can't hold that kind of opinion.
I'm not gonna. We've talked about that enough.
Yeah, we have. We've gone over a lot of time. Plus side though, for their mapping of it, it will mean that they can start working possibly on ways to block that receptor from binding to other genes. So it's a pretty big deal. Like if you're into virology or in the medical field in general, and you're just keeping tabs on it. For those of you who don't know, actually, I should probably jump back real fast. A spike protein or a spike in general refers to specifically the components that effectively allows it to bind itself to other and I'm gonna grossly simplify this. Essentially allows it to bind to cells and items within another being. So like when you sneeze and you pass those germs along, the spike protein is at least for the coronavirus, because it can be spike other things as well. But in the case of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, that's what essentially allows it to bind to it. So because we've now mapped it out, we understand what it looks like and how it interacts with things. Biologists and whatnot, they can actually look into ways to potentially release a vaccine out there, or release a medicine or cure, whatever you want to call it, that allows it to block the usage of that. It either tricks it or actually stops it from attaching, and that's what keeps people safe from being hit by COVID. So
That's good.
But that is exactly what it means. It's actually a lot of work. It's impressive. It's really impressive considering how fast they got it done.
And that, my friends, is your biology lesson of the day from Medicine.
Use it wisely. Don't go spending it all in one place.
Hey.
But it's impressive. I'm surprised it's gotten done so fast, because generally when we think of because I mean, to be fair, it's been very quick. Quarantining has been very well done. People have been very.
I think it has 0.1 lethality.
Yeah, it's not actually that lethal. Truth be told, it's honestly not that.
I mean, still a lot of people have died, but it's just
it's like slightly worse than like the bad flu stuff, I think.
You can get it's pretty much worse than a flu. It can lead to complications and whatnot, but it's akin to SARS. Like the problem isn't so much that it in and of itself is lethal. The problem is
easily spreadable.
Exactly. It's the infection rate.
CDC has a level 1 watch advisory for Japan, so we'll see how OBS does.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've said that on the podcast. But y'all know.
Yeah,
I'm going to Japan in May. It's going to be
taking his chances with coronavirus.
I'm not going to Japan in May. I'm going
That's
to.
What it sounded like.
Yeah, I know. I heard myself say that. I'm going to Japan in May. Glorious Nippon.
Glorious. You gonna go to the Sword Museum?
Finally, your boy's going home.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna have fun. I was telling Art I'm gonna drive those little mini race cars around. I'm gonna eat so much ramen.
Are you going to the Sword Museum though? That's the only really question.
Yeah. Now that I know about it,
good. I was glad that Mao mentioned it, because I didn't even think about it. I was like, he's going to Japan. He's probably going to go to cool places. And then Mao was like, you should go to the Sword Museum in Tokyo. And I'm like, I should have said that.
Everyone would expect it to you too first.
There's really cool shit there.
Yeah, I want to see the historical stuff. That's what I'm like super interested in.
Yeah. It's actually I've actually talked to Lily about this, but if I ever went to Japan, I was going to I want to go to like famous battlefields from the Sengoku period. That's what I would like to do. I really don't want to go to the touristy stuff. Like I would love to go to Nagashino or to Okayama or to any one of the other many places. Sekigahara, for instance. That was a huge battle. I would love to just go to the areas that are associated with that. I don't know. That to me is just really super fucking fascinating because I
have no idea what I'd want to do because there's so much.
I want to go play Pokemon Gachapon all day in Akihabara.
I know
what I'm really going to do. Spend like $50, like 50,000 yen on Gacha Pokemon.
I know what you need to do, Mao. Go do what every Japanese businessman down in his luck does: play pachinko.
Yeah, pachinko parlor.
Pachinko parlor.
Oh, Nami, where you at?
Yeah, Can I just point out? I hate fucking pachinko. I think it's a waste.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never played it, so I have no real feelings.
It's whatever.
It's not great.
But anyways, so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know. That's like the only good thing that's happened to me recently is finally buying that.
To go to Japan.
I've decided finally to go to
Nippon. It was it's tickets right before the Olympics, and in the start of summer, I thought it was going to be a lot more expensive than it was, but it's not that bad right now. I might go again in the fall.
I might. I'm thinking about going after the Olympics.
That would be really fun to go to.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we've talked about it. I just don't know when we're gonna do it. I would love to go though. That'd be great.
Podcast trip to Japan.
Podcast.
That would be sweet.
That'd be actually dope. Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm gonna go first class. I've got the miles for it.
I have the I bought the ticket that's it was like $100 more. It's not the first class or the cheapest seat. It's like the one above it where you get like a foot more leg room, and you don't exactly have your little cubicle on the plane or whatever.
There's first class, there's business, and then there's like two variants. Yeah, economy and coach. Essentially.
Yeah. I flew first class once for work because it was last minute and that was all that was available. And then when I got to the place, this little nowhere place in Texas, I got a convertible Ford Mustang because they're like, this is all we have. Is this going to be okay? And I'm like, yes, it will.
I'll take it.
Everything that like Mao was like, everything last minute is like, this is all we've got. This is all I've got. It's like, I really hope my day keeps going. This is all we've got. I'll find this thing possible.
It was nice, actually.
Yeah.
What did they give you? All they have was like the penthouse suite when you got to the hotel? All we have left is this beautiful.
This is a little. No, there was nowhere really like that in this place. It was Midland, Texas. It was like a square mile, I think, was the entire town. Like, and it was just changed because it had sprouted up so fast because it was an oil town.
So like 100 people and they all know each other.
Yeah, I actually know about Midland, Texas.
Yeah, I remember seeing. It was like Walmart starting pay like $20 an hour, but that's because a 1-bedroom apartment was like $3,000 a month or something stupid.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was. The economy was weird there.
Yeah, that's insane.
Anywho.
Yeah. So yeah.
Japan's cool.
Speaking of cool things, let's talk about the demise of FFG. I'm just joking. I'm just joshing. I don't mean it.
Seriously, I can't wait for it to die too.
Asmodee will be the death of all.
I mean, it's only the RPG system.
It's only the RPG. Yeah,
the RPG. Also,
it's not the money part.
Did you see did you see the Asmodee's new return policy on broken game pieces?
It's awful.
Because the game I play, a Song of Ice and Fire Miniatures game, CMON started distributing through Asmodee. So now, and people's minis are constantly coming in broke. You have to now go to the person that sold you the product, and they have to file it through them. And they just like
made that? You bought it from a place over an hour away? Too bad. Drive there and sort it out.
Yeah, they got to file a claim for you.
Terrible. What?
Yes.
Yeah, instead you used to just deal directly with Asmodee and fill out a form, and they sent you like a replacement in a few weeks.
That's immensely dumb. That's a terrible business choice.
Well, I mean, Asmodee keeps changing hands, I think, and I think
it sounds like they're prepping to change hands again.
I think they're just cutting costs to sell again.
This is honestly this is kind of like the part I never think about gaming companies in general in the background is like this kind of just this dumb crap that happens with them that it's not beneficial to anybody. Like, it's not beneficial to the people who are working for the company. It's not beneficial to people who are being supplied by the company. It's not beneficial to the end consumer who is just going to buy products from the company. This is kind of just it feels very dirty to have to like point out. It's like Asmodee keeps getting traded hands. It's like, I don't want to make a metaphor for this one. They're all really terrible, but you know where I'm going with it. It just, they get around. I don't know what else to say. They're very easy to get, apparently.
Wily French.
I just don't understand. I mean, I do understand. I shouldn't say that. It's more of the frustration of it, because I mean, we just talked about this not 2 weeks ago, and I said, don't worry, they're not shutting down the RPG division. And what did they come out just a couple days ago? We're shutting down the RPG division.
Yeah, when you posted that in Discord, I was immediately those Twitter things where it's a story and 2 tweets.
Yes,
that's how I felt like that. It's like, it's all right, they're not shutting down this part, and then 2 weeks later, bam.
It's terrible. I know, it just felt terrible. I mean, it made sense to shut down the interactive because the interactive wasn't really doing a lot. Like, it really wasn't. It's terrible to say that, and I know there's some people who really hope for it. I honestly wish to this day that there was an actual like an online version. I know there's actual ones out there. Nobody has to say it, but I know what they are. But I really wish there was a fully, truly supported online version of L5R or the card game and whatnot. That'd be awesome. I would
Yeah.
love that. Not just through like some HTML5 or Flash. I'm talking about like a full blown program. Maybe not as juicy. That's a lot of money like Hearthstone, but certainly something. I mean, just that would be really cool to play the game. But they really didn't do much with it. They really wasn't there to do.
Yeah. Why don't we explain what
I don't even want to talk about
exactly? Yeah.
So, if you aren't
days ago.
aware, if you are
At time of recording, 2 days
I'm
ago.
going farther back. I'm going farther back.
okay.
We're gonna start
Back
from
to
the beginning.
1993.
Let me tell you a tale of high adventure.
So L5R was started in
By
Maybe not that far
AG.
back. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Not that far back.
too far back.
So a couple weeks ago, they as many Fantasy Flight games in general dropped that they were ending the interactive department within the company that allows them to do that works with both the add-ons for games like Mansions of Madness and whatnot. They were ending essentially their virtual interactive.
They had like a version of the Lord of the Rings card game that was it's like a watered down version of it, I believe.
Yeah.
Was Interactive the ones who like developed the apps as well for
Yes.
I
like?
think
games?
so. Yeah,
I
Like
believe
the phone
so,
apps
yes.
and
They-
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they worked on
some of those are really cool.
Yeah, they are amazing. And they shut them down, and that's where it started. However, rumors are flying around. It would have been obviously it had just been leaked from I guess not leaked. It was made pretty official very quickly. So, but there were people on the inside who were just simply saying is that like this is the case, this is the scenario. But there was a lot of like hearsay. And one of the things that did come up was like people were concerned like, what does this mean for RPGs? What does this mean for like that? Because somebody had said like I think that's going too. But they came out later on and they say it's like, don't worry, that's not going anywhere. You're fine. They actually released it. People really started.
'Cause they dissolved the teams, but it made it sound like they were just going towards freelance writers.
Yeah, which is what we were inferring back a
Yeah.
few weeks ago.
But then 2 days ago, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say a few weeks ago. This was the original article was technically posted, like it was around in January, actually, not a few weeks ago. But 2 days ago, we just received information from d20radio.com, which are pretty much the only people who've actually posted up at least that I've looked up thus far. Who
Yeah, I
have
think
released
that's where it was
information.
Here's the
originally
first
for it.
result.
That was literally the first result.
I just Googled it. I just got them.
Yeah. So they, if you don't know who they are a podcast group, much like us. They've had a pretty long history running. They do a number of things involving in part of many groups that involve like these tabletop games, fantasy flight games, so on and so forth. So they're a good group. They just dropped out an article yesterday or 2 days ago saying that the RPG division is going. It's gone. Fantasy Flight Games is removing it, and that is the long-term plan. It's not like disintegrated on the spot today, but they are essentially getting rid of it. That is the long goal. We do know that anything that is currently in production right now or that's currently being worked on, it will be finished and delivered. It's not being, just axed right now. I like say unceremoniously is like the loss of L5R to FFG. But that if you haven't heard anything about it, it's probably not coming. So anything beyond what we know is the only stuff that we are guaranteed to get. After that, there's technically no need to continue those products just because, they haven't said anything about them. And as far as we know, they don't exist. And it's really unfortunate to hear this kind of thing. With how much people obviously play some pretty big games, both, Star Wars. And just recently, we've been seeing stuff for L5R come out, and then there's the Genesis role-playing system, which was developed and designed to kind of be a catch-all for any type of theme or setting and whatnot, are pretty much all being shut down, which is it's very depressing because obviously the people have put time and energy and effort into them, but it also means that if you were really looking forward to like more 5th edition stuff for L5R, which I think it obviously has the shortest run out of all of these, I think.
Yeah, which this article did not actually mention anything about L5R, but apparently Katrina then on Discord confirmed that.
Yes.
Yeah, she talked about it on Twitter as well.
Yeah,
I think she had said like people had asked her at a convention or something like that, and she confirmed to them first that that
Yep.
was going on. So
Yeah. So if you've been playing 5th edition for like the last 2 years, you don't expect any more than what's come out for it. Thankfully, I feel a little bit. I'm not not to say that it's a non-sympathetic situation, but if you've been playing the Star Wars role playing, at least thankfully you've had a lot to come out for you already. There's actually been a fair amount that's come out so far for the system, as far as I'm understanding.
yeah, to
I
be
could
fair,
wrong.
L5R has for how long
It
it's been
does.
out, it has a bunch of stuff.
It
yeah,
does.
they really
It's-
rushed it out.
I was rushed. It almost was shot from like a machine gun out. Honestly, there's a lot, but ironically enough, it's almost a lot of settings and just creating rules for certain things to get them into the field and to play. I know a lot of they actually did originally a poll recently, at least for L5R. They did a poll for them recently, and a lot of things people would really like is more NPCs. That was a big thing that they really wanted. Yeah. That was I was surprised by that. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that was a really wanted thing. But apparently it is. Which
Yeah, it was so short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
saw
is-
some people speculating like basically buying L5R was like the last big thing Fantasy Flight did before being bought by Asmodee or whatever.
Yeah.
And that now, the possibility of changing hands, either FFG or Asmodee is getting sold, is what, or the Roll20 article also
Yeah.
brings up as a possibility that rumors have been floating around.
It's been around for a little bit, and honestly, it's a lot of conjecture beyond what has been reported. We just don't know why it's going on, but generally these do like fall into signs that like generally when this kind of thing happens, X is in the future or at least in the works.
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, it's never a good thing if a company is shutting down a production line like this, especially one that a lot of people like. It's not a good thing to see because that does at least infer, if nothing else, that it is not. It's either not making the desired amount of profit, which is likely more the case, or that there are complications in having it before trying to clean up for a possible sale or change of hands or whatever they might be doing internally if something like that comes into place. It's just not a very normal thing. It's like, it's one thing if you just say we're not continuing a very specific type of product anymore because of complications with it. It's another thing to like end.
Now how long until the game? How long do you think the card game now lives?
I don't know. The card. I mean,
how has
I
it
think
been?
it probably as far
I have
as
no
it's
idea
doing
towards-
fine. I think.
Yeah.
It's not like the problem is their biggest games they've done are Netrunner and Destiny. Destiny just ended. Netrunner's been Netrunner's been done for a while. Those have been their two biggest games. Those are over. So I don't know. Will they dedicate more resources to it and try to push it again? Who knows? It's kind of like just it was really popular right when it launched, and it went downhill a little bit, and it's now like, I mean, it still like has decent Cote percentage. I don't know the numbers, so I can't like speak for them exactly, but it boomed, it went down, and it's like plateaued. It's not gone up, it's not gone down. It's just been doing okay.
Just very stable numbers, but it's nothing impressive. I think is the
It's not as I don't think it's doing as well as they would have liked it to do.
I would agree with that. It's probably not doing as well as they'd like it to do. I mean, God, it's to say it again, but we've talked about it so much. Just our feelings on it, so it's not really much to say on it. It is on one hand, it is kind of a concern. I mean, I don't want to point out the problem with L5R, but L5R in general is just a very niche. It's a niche area. It's very niche. I don't know what else to say about it. It kind of hits to one crowd and one crowd alone.
And then you've got AEG like teasing people by posting about like second day of Thunder stuff.
I think this is just my theory. I'm not speaking for the man, but I think Zinzer regrets selling it.
Yeah,
I really think he does.
I mean, I could see it. It's hard to let go of something that
Didn't they AG like had a big like restructure? Didn't they get rid of a lot or like focus? They only wanted to focus on like
they
board games.
Yeah,
right?
board
They
games.
really want to focus on just like family-friendly board games. They dropped a lot of things that aren't a part of that. It's
Because I mean, they were losing money on L5R. Because
they were.
that-
The fact that Smash Up still continues to get like worked on is because Smash Up is super popular.
Are
That
they
is-
still like licensing Love Letter out to everything?
I
don't
don't know. I haven't
sort of thing.
followed.
I don't think as
Love
much as
Letter.
they used to.
Yeah.
I think it personally peaked when they did Lovecraft. That's when it peaked for me because Lovecraft actually changed up some of the rules of Love Letter. You can actually there's cards that have like madness effects on them.
Of course.
And if you use the madness effects for it, or if you put it, it's a little more complicated. But essentially, there's madness effects, and those are more potent versions of whatever the card normally does. So it kind of lets you do something that's really cool. But every time before the start of a turn, you have to draw like how many madness cards are in your discard pile, and if you draw a madness card out of that, then you automatically are out as well because you descend into true madness. So it's a very fun game. I've played a lot. Very, very quick rounds if you're playing 2-player. Because Buddy and I played it. Like we quite literally kept just getting knocked out of the game after like the second draw. That was quite literally how most of them went. It was insane when we got 4 draws. We really thought it was like, what's going on here? There's something wrong with the game. But yeah, they've I mean, with the loss, for the loss of sales, there are different achieving focus and whatnot for AAG. I don't know if they want to buy it back. I mean, like
I don't think they ever will.
I don't think they ever will, which is why I'm putting up my candidacy for president of FFR when it's eventually sold off again.
It's possible also if they are looking to sell FFG that they sell FFG and then whoever buys it's like, let's start the RPGs again.
Something I would literally see I could see happening. One of my buddies who I played competitively with back in the day bought the license to Doomtown from AG and started his own gaming company called Pine Box Entertainment. And he was a big L5R guy too, so maybe it'll have. I doubt he'd buy it for what FFG's looking for it.
Right. Let's kickstart the license exchange.
Yeah, I could see that happen. That's like probably literally the only way I could see something happening.
Right.
Like it getting sold and someone buying it is some kind of Kickstarter campaign to get the rights or something. Similar.
I think the problem, why
just need to hit the lottery.
I know, right?
I know we talk about
buy it and bring back 3rd edition.
I know. No, please don't. I know. We talk about this a lot, but honestly, barring the fact that we just have a love for the game, I also kind of think that it's also concerning because it is, in a way, it's in a very unique situation. Like Star Wars will never go away. Like the loss of Star Wars is like it doesn't mind. I don't mean to sound cold about it, but like Star Wars is very popular. It's always going to remain in some shape or form popular. You're going to have people who love the original. You're going to have people who look kind of fondly back on the prequels as weird as they could be. And there are even people who do like the new ones. I don't know who they are. They're small now, I'm sure, but there's people who like them. Yeah, there's plenty of people. I'm just fucking around. There's plenty of people who even like the new one. So like Star Wars eventually will get picked up. Somebody will pick up something or somebody will homebrew something. It will be there. And while I don't mean to bash on what the Genesis role-playing system is, there are, and if you go to Gen Con or like any free, big like board game / RPG kind of convention, there are tons of gaming systems out there that cover everything under the sun from
GURP style, like catch 'em all.
Yeah.
Systems.
Yeah, just all catch them all. You've got, and you can get
it's that for people who like the narrative dice, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
So it's like 2 niche groups merging into one kind of thing.
Yeah, but I'll say this right now. I have looked for other games like L5R that are like RPG wise and whatnot, and this is really dumb to say, but they really don't exist. I don't know how, but they really don't exist.
What do you mean by that?
Akin to it.
As in, like, is it mechanically or setting wise, or what do you mean?
Um, oh, that's a tough question. I think mostly setting mechanically. I don't know anybody else that really uses
The
like
exploding
this specific style
Or-
of exploding
Yeah.
D10s.
There's some
I
roll
don't
and
know
keep
anybody.
systems, but yeah, none really like that.
None like this one. At least
Yeah, and
from
I don't know of any other RPG that like wants you to know so much of its lore to play in.
Yeah, it's and from like from a lore standpoint, I mean, like I think there might be one game, but it's a bit different. But this is the only game I know of that does like samurai
Yeah.
fantasy in the way that it does. It's the only one that I know of, and I have looked. I really have gone to like conventions and searched
You went
online
legally, just legally not the Sengoku era with fantasy thrown in. No one else
Yeah.
does that.
As silly as it sounds, it's probably the closest thing you can. It's almost akin to D&D in a way, but with samurai, and
Yeah.
that's like,
Others
it's
are more
really-
low fantasy kind of.
They are.
feeling.
They're very low fantasy,
or
they
more
follow-
or more like a Kurosawa Chanbara style game, other than like a high fantasy samurai game.
And then and I mean even other games that do it tend to be also even or sometimes do more like sci-fi approach to
Yeah.
them as opposed to like an actual fantasy setting. I guess that's why this is like I would not want to see this die off for that reason alone, because it really is niche, but it is also unique, and I enjoy that I can play this game and that it is samurai with so many different flavors of samurai. Now, at the end of the day, I mean, you can definitely boil them down to this is the barbarian, this is the knight, this is the paladin. But there is the way it's presented gives it its own life. Although I definitely could do without having to be a PhD in history for running these kind of games. I could do without that.
I mean,
personally.
it only affects us so much because we play. I mean, we primarily play 4th edition, which is no longer supported other than by Meta mostly, and
4.25.
and then we have our own timeline as well. So,
Yeah.
So-
we've done our own stuff with it. I mean,
Mhm.
like, yeah.
to be fair though,
no one's putting out more content for that except us.
it's
exactly.
to be fair, what you call it? I mean, 4.0 actually has a pretty sound mechanical system. It's really swingy. It's really swingy, and unfortunately, it was
I guess,
developed.
like the base kit is there. I'm not like
Yes.
the game itself is not necessarily well designed. Like
It's
the
not.
classes
It's not.
and
I
everything.
wouldn't. It's not well balanced, but
Yeah.
fundamentally, it's got a foundation, and it
Yeah.
works on that foundation. It's just that
for a lot, not everything.
Not
like
all everything. but yeah, definitely grappling. But everything built on it, that's when it gets really weird. That's the problem. So it even has a system that is fundamentally sound. It's just, it could have used a lot of work and tidying up. And I don't even think when they originally were AEG was talking about it about making their 5th edition, for what little that we did know from behind the scenes, I know they were doing actually some radical stuff with it, which was kind of
They were kind of like going back to like 1st edition-y kind of roots, from what I
Yeah.
understand, or what
Which is
I've
kinda-
heard. So
I mean, they had some really weird things like, oh, you have to like roll a defense versus their attack. And I was like, on one hand, that's cool to keep you engaged in it. On the other hand,
Yeah,
that's
it's
also
just-
kind of like
I'm not a
busy
fan of
work.
that personally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was not a
for
big fan
that
of it. But
reason.
but they were doing things, and honestly, I feel like 4th edition could have just been spruced up, added, polished, cleaned up, made what didn't work, and that would have been a great idea, personally. But we don't know where the actual game
Yeah.
is going to go from this point, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
I-
Yeah, it just depends on how
Nowhere,
things
I'm
play
guessing.
out.
Yeah.
Because their 2 biggest LCG games are now like over. And
Yeah.
well, Destiny wasn't really an LCG, but like card games. So now like their big
yeah, what
ones
else?
are Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings,
I mean, they
L5R.
I assume they make a lot of money on all the stuff floating around.
Well, now like
I'm sure they do.
Crisis Protocol is like blowing up really big. So do
I
they
don't know what
start
that is.
going more? It's the Marvel miniatures game. So do they start going more into that kind of stuff? Because they've been trying to do it with Star Wars for a while now, and people love it, but it hasn't quite blown up like Crisis Protocol has. And maybe it's just like the MCU zeitgeist we're in right now that's
They just
making it so
announced a
big.
new novella for.
Yeah, they did yesterday.
L5R.
So I mean, they're still doing stuff.
Shadowlands.
But who knows? Who knows what they'll do with the IP? I don't know.
We don't know. I mean, it's definitely
They have a history and a deserved reputation for just letting games die, and their successful ones included. And L5R is not like one of their more successful ones. It's more middle of the pack kind of thing. So
with the death of the RPG just division in general, though. I mean, that's
a pretty big blow.
It's a big blow. It means that there's clearly going to be something that's coming from this, and.
Because what was the big divide in the AEG years? It was the CCG years versus the RPG years. They couldn't get along. It was hard to mesh them.
I was never a part of that. I stayed away from that as much as I was
I like both, so I don't care. That's where I was. So.
Yeah, I like both.
I was like, what's this? Oh, it's dead.
Wow.
Mal stumbled into a dying horse, clutching its. Well, that's
like that guy in that GIF where he comes in and he's got the pizzas and the whole room's just on fire when he turns around.
Community.
Well,
Troy,
yeah. I mean, I even got in relatively late in the latter half of the game's lifespan. So
to be fair, it had some really janky things within its early lifespan.
Hey, you better watch where you say that.
I wasn't there for it.
Them old boys.
I know, right? I'm gonna get bullied. He's like, "Hey, man, heard you talking shit about L5R." He's like,
"And I'll
what you're talking
do
about?
it again."
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, "I'll shit on everything you love."
Yeah, I don't know. They just, But anyways, I don't know. I don't know what'll happen with FFG. We'll see.
I really hope it's something bad. I really don't want it to be something bad because
they're one of the big guys in the gaming market.
I mean, they definitely have a bad reputation, and oftentimes, depending on who you talk to, deserved. But there are still a lot of people that work for the company, and when you see a rather big division get shut down like this, it's never a good thing. For having worked in corporate areas long time, I can sufficiently say you don't let go of a division because your company's doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
It's not like, oh, this is making us so much money. Let's get rid of it.
And it's like, no, we just don't really feel like having this division anymore. So let's just put its resources to something else. That's not how it works.
They were breaking even or losing money more than likely, or just barely over. So, I mean, those books had a really good production quality and stuff too. So
I think, aesthetically, everything I think they've done with L5R has been great.
Oh yeah, aesthetically has been the best part.
There's some really good stuff just overall. I mean, they've got really nice books. I don't
the storytelling quality is pretty good.
The card game and the art. Everything aesthetically has been very appeasing.
I think the biggest problem they've done with the story is just the pace of it. It's been awful. But
when nothing's happening, kind of awful pace.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
why I said awful and not good.
Like it's written by a dragon.
Oh, they're getting meta.
Meta's
getting meta.
I'm definitely not biased.
But we'll see what Tom tells, man.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be interesting.
Check back in later and see.
Here in a month, after they've
in a
sold.
month's time, they're gonna release a document saying we're not canceling the RPG division. We're gonna be like, so guys,
fooled you.
Hey,
here's
April
20
Fools came
books.
early.
Here's April Fools early.
Yeah.